I am Kobe Koffer and I'm here with
Rabbi Zalmy.
Rabbi Zalmy. I understand you're participating in the Jewish Club. Can you tell me your role?
Yes, about 5 years ago, my role is that I make the pizza. Very important. Kosher pizza with Rabbi Mendel from Chabad at UCSB, and myself, youth director of Chabad of As Barbara, and we make the pizza every day. We make about 20 every week. We make about 20 pies of pizza, which we use here in Dos Pueblos, San Marcos High School, and at Chabad at UCSB's Pizza Parsha program. So it's lots of fun.
All right, and how did the Jewish Club get started?
This Jewish Club got started. Good question. We started the Jewish Club a long time ago, about I think 6 years ago, when one of the students approached me and asked me if I could help him get it started. Many years ago, Yoav Schaefer and his brother Avi Schaefer, may he rest, started the club, and when they graduated it sort of fizzled out, and together with Jake Kovacs and a few other dedicated students, they put it back together again. It's been going strong ever since. I bring the pizza and try to share a controversial Jewish thought, and now something inspiring from the weekly Torah portion, and then the students really, they run the whole club. They're the officers, and they do the recruitment and all the official paperwork with the school. And Mr. Lewin, who's the teacher in the classroom, he's our official sponsoring teacher, and it's very nice to open up his classroom to us so that we can leave pizza crumbs every Monday. I think it's very important for high school students to maintain a Jewish identity. I think a lot of times after the bar bat mitzvah, there's a little bit of missing link, and I think it's great that the students here who come to the club want to maintain a connection to the Jewish identity, and they feel that it's important to belong, and they get involved with the events. And we're having a Shabbat dinner for all the clubs, and we do a boat trip usually once a year. We have lots of other events. They do some social action. I just think it's great that they get involved and they stay involved, and hopefully that carries on for the rest of their lives. This week, the theme of the Torah portion is the splitting of the sea, which is cool because the splitting of the sea is a very supernatural event that is described in the Torah. I actually once had a scientist tell me that he read it in a journal that it wasn't a miracle. It was actually a typhoon type of thing that came about exactly that time. They traced it back. And I said, if you're telling me that there was 3 million Jewish people that were about to get wiped off the face of the earth, and suddenly a typhoon came and made this space in the ocean that they ran through, and then the Egyptians timed it wrong and got drowned in it, and they were saved. That's probably a miracle. That's good enough miracle for me. Huh? So yeah, that was cool. Anyway, the bottom line is that the splitting of the sea is a wondrous event. It's very awesome. And for those of you who are not up on your Bible stories, Jews left Egypt, and they told the Egyptians they were just going to make a short prayer service in the desert because they weren't allowed to pray in Egypt proper, because the Jewish people were going to offer to God lambs, and lambs were one of the Egyptian gods. So they basically weren't allowed to do that in Egypt because that would be sacrilegious in Egypt. So we just need to go out to the desert, do a short prayer service, and we'll be back in a week. But of course they weren't really planning on doing that, and they started. And after a week, they realized that they weren't going, so the Egyptians went to knock them down. Anyway, God does this great miracle, and the sea is split. So one of the lessons that we learned from the sea splitting is that God is involved in the world constantly. Not just that he created the world 5,772 years ago and then left it on autopilot, but that he's actually involved every day. So somebody here is going to be the falafel and decide somehow maybe make that connection for us. Why would the splitting of the sea give us the notion that God is involved in the world at a very great level? Vanessa.
Because it shows that when we needed help most, and there was really like nothing, or it was gone, the sea anyway, you're going to have to swim, there'd be a lot of casualties. And so we need God most.
When we need God, God's there for us. So the Jewish people were in a pinch. They were about to get wiped out, and God came through for them. Anybody else? Don't be shy. Or you can be shy, just speak quietly.
Can you repeat the question?
The question was, what do you feel, the good book tells us that the Jewish people's being saved by the splitting of the sea, that supernatural event, the supernatural event of the splitting of the sea demonstrates that God is constantly involved in the world. I'm going to give it away. Now that was good. So first of all, the obvious, or not obvious, but the simple basic answer is that we have a great demonstration of God's kindness, that He even went against nature. Made water stand up like walls. Water usually flows. Now, if you remember the story, it says that there was this eastern wind that was blowing the entire time. And then when the Jews were finally out on dry land, God stopped the wind, and the Egyptians were caught in the waves. So, God created the world in a way that nature keeps going. It doesn't stop. The sun always rises up every single morning and sets every single evening, and if it would stop doing that, we'd get awful worried. Right? So, but we expect it to happen. But this is, in order for something to change in nature, for water to stop flowing, God needed to create a miracle and constantly keep it at bay. No pun intended. Thank you. Okay, the water had to constantly be blown into a wall. So, to create nature, surely God needs to be constantly involved. If to change nature, God needs to be involved. So to create those rules, God also needs to be involved. And why is that important? And it's important because many times things happen to us that are not positive. They're not happy. And it's very easy to get depressed and upset and nervous and anxious. However, if we realize that everything that's happening is part of the divine plan, capital P, so then we know that this is going to have a good ending. Maybe not, and we actually have a responsibility not to be satisfied with that. God asks us to please pray to Him and ask Him that the meantime and the process should also be good, and it should be a revealed good that we should get, we should understand. But at the same time, we can have faith and know that this is really all for the good. I'm going to tell a 4-minute story, and then you're going to have time to chat with Toby over there, who is a graduating class of 17 student of Dos Pueblos High School.
Wait, joke day.
There was a guy named Rabbi Akiva. Who heard of Rabbi Akiva? Raise your hand. Famous rabbi. Lived about 2,000 years ago. And he was, he had a very long story. When he was 40 years old, he didn't know the Jewish alphabet, and then he became one of the greatest rabbis ever. And one of the largest student bodies in his yeshiva ever recorded, 24,000 rabbis. Yeah, he was a big rabbi. And he once went on a travel, and he used to take with him when he traveled some very important items, which you can buy now, various variations of these at Brookstone or Sky Mall. He had a rooster with him that served as his alarm clock. He had a donkey, that was his roller suitcase, and he had a candle, which was his flashlight, and emergency light and all that good stuff. What?
Not to read the books?
And to read the books.
No, the Kindle.
Oh, you don't know Kindle? Oh, okay. So, all right, Kindle. It also doubled as his Kindle, and it was wireless, the candle. Anyway, either way, the bottom line is that he was traveling with these things, and he went to a certain village as he was traveling to stay the night, and nobody there would allow him to stay the night. There was no vacancies. So finally, he decided just to sleep in the forest, and he goes to sleep, and he's busy, he's resting, and he's reading one of his holy books, lighted the candle, and suddenly this wind goes and blows out the candle, and his luck, he didn't have any more matches left. Then the next thing he knows, he hears the scream and the screech, and a hyena, or some type of wild cat, had taken away his rooster. So now he feels really upset. Now he's starting to get mad. First of all, it was his rooster, and second of all, now he doesn't have his companion to wake him up in the morning. Next thing he knows, there's another roar, and some bigger cat comes and scares away his donkey. So now he's donkeyless, roosterless, and this is, you know what I'm saying, this is like losing your iPhone, your Kindle, and your wallet in the same day.
Oh,
So he's upset.
Does he have insurance on it?
I don't know if you've ever tried collecting insurance on your cell phone. It's a waste of time. Anyway, so you have to pay this, you have to pay that. They only cover this, they only cover that. They don't cover water damage, they don't cover credit. So multiple times. So the bottom line is that we are 4 kids. Remember, 4 kids in cell phone coverage. Anyway, so
No, it's been like this.
it's all right. Anyway, bottom line is that the Rabbi Akiva was a big believer, and he did not get upset, and he did not cry. Instead, he said, he said that everything that Hashem does is for the best. He said in Aramaic, which you don't have to memorize, and you should not say Gesundheit afterwards either. The Kol Da'avid Rachmana, everything that the merciful one does, the Tav Avdin, he does for good. It's sort of like Hebrew almost. Now, the next morning he wakes up and he sees that this village is totally desolate, empty, and deserted. And he finds out that what happened was that there was a group of robbers and thieves that had come in, invaded the village, took everybody as prisoner, pillaged, robbed, plundered, did all that good stuff, a couple other keywords, and the place was emptied out. And he realized that had he been staying overnight in the city, he would have been one of the victims. Had his light rooster or donkey been around, he would have brought attention to himself, and they would have found him there too. So the fact that all these terrible things happened to him were good. My father, this is above my 4-minute limit, but my father was supposed to be next door to World Trade Center 7, in the office building next door, on 9/11/2001, but he missed his train because his boss slept in. So instead of being next door to a tragedy, doesn't belittle the tragedy at all, it was a terrible event, but for my father, that morning he was very frustrated. Where's my boss? Why is it, we missed our train? Oh no, we're going to take the next train. It's not for another hour and a half. By the time that hour and a half came, there was no more trains running to New York, unfortunately. But the bottom line is that very rarely do we get to see how frustrating events are good. But if you remember the splitting of the sea, remember that God is always around, He's always guiding us, and it's going to work out for the good. Hopefully, we will know why it worked out for the good, but sometimes we don't get that lucky. Ladies and gentlemen, any of you who are not shy, please speak to Kobe. If you are shy, please speak to Kobe.
I'm Kobe Coffer with Jewish Life, and I'm here with your name?
Vanessa Maxwell, Sarah Chase.
And what do you do here at the Jewish Club? I hear you're running it.
I'm president and I'm vice president. So every meeting on Monday, I'll bring the club. I'll start the club, just give any announcements that we have, and then I'll introduce the rabbi. And the rabbi talks and we talk about the weekly Torah portion and answers any questions that we have. And he makes it really fun and tells really fun stories.
Yeah, and as vice president, I remind everyone to come to the meetings. That's very important.
How do you become president of the Jewish Club?
How we do it here is that the past president the past officers ask the next officer. So the last one was Rachel Holden, and she asked me.
All right, cool. And what do you think? Why do you think people should come to the Jewish Club?
Well, Jewish Club is really fun, and there's free pizza, which everyone loves, and the rabbi is really entertaining. And even if you're not Jewish, I find it interesting to listen to the stories. So I think I am Jewish, but people who aren't Jewish that I know, they come still really enjoy it.
What's your favorite part of the Jewish Club? What do you enjoy most?
Rabbi stories and
the rabbi's
pizza.
beard. Yeah, it's a combination of Rabbi Zalmy's beard, his stories, and the pizza.
Pizza's wonderful. Learn a lot.
We play a lot of dreidel games. A lot of fun, you know. Get to learn cool stories about Jewish culture and all of that good stuff. Gotta, share in the enjoyment and festivities.